get everyone's attention? Welcome to back to our budget meeting. This is our last session of our special council meeting regarding the 2024 budget, which started on December 5th and has continued since. As a reminder, this meeting is called for the specific purpose under council's meeting rules. No other business can be considered at this special meeting today. We have Councillor Toor, Deputy Mayor Singh, Councillor Paleshi, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Brar, Councillor Basante, Councillor Santos here. Do we have anyone online?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do not see anybody online at the moment.
Okay, great. The clerk will so note. Now, we have one item that I'm going to ask the clerk's discretion for me to bring up today, even though it's not on the agenda, because we couldn't tell him, because it's about him. Today is a sad day for the city of Brampton because our city clerk is retiring. And we have an incredible, I could say the best city clerk in the country. And so a few... So normally to add anything to the agenda, you have to actually tell the clerk. But we did want to have a bit of a surprise today to express the appreciation we all have for him. He is an encyclopedia of knowledge on city procedure. And sometimes we have debates here that I don't know how he keeps a straight face, where we can say things that are sometimes odd, sometimes challenging each other, but he is the ultimate in discipline and neutrality and giving sound advice based on the Municipal Act. At times when, today we're all laughing and smiling, but I'm sure there's been a few times in the last, in your time here where it's been a little tense, and you managed to be that a source of wisdom that everyone generally understands, is simply giving us the best advice. And so today we want to say thank you. We've got a little video we wanted to play. And I want to thank Deputy Mayor Singh's office for working with this video in my office and other councillors to put together. So can we just play this video for a special message to our city clerk?
Wow, I can't believe retirement already around the corner. Imagine both of us being so young and retired. Anyway, we're both Habs fans. We love the CH. Keep it up. Hopefully one day we meet at that fabulous new Bell Center and we get to share a beer and celebrate retirement. All the best in the future. Cheers. Love you, Brian Scriven.
Hi Peter, it's Guy Carbonneau. As many here may know, Peter Fay started with the City of Brampton in 2007 as Deputy City Clerk, going on to become the City Clerk in 2008. Peter has dedicated an exemplary 17 years with the city. On behalf of all Mayor Brown, members of City Council, current and past, city staff and residents, thank you for being such a great clerk. As a Montreal Canadian captain, I want to thank you for the patience of putting up with the mayor and councillors who are Maple Leafs fans. We appreciate your dedication to the city of Brampton and for being a devout Canadian fan. Best wishes for your upcoming retirement and the wonderful years ahead. Have fun. Enjoy.
And this is painful for us because we are, most of us here are diehard Maple Leaf fans, and Peter actually gets to cheer on a team that wins, and sadly beats our beloved Maple Leafs. But so we have got a Montreal Canadiens jersey sign that we're going to present to you, as painful it is to hold a Montreal Canadiens jersey. I'm going to ask members of council to join me. We present this to the best clerk in the country, and if anyone deserves a retirement, it's Peter Fay. Wow, hold on a second here. Feeling so much allowed. Now, I think there may be some other words of appreciation before we start. Councillor Pleshy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a little bit difficult for me, just for everybody here. You know, the first person that you really meet is Peter Fay once elected, and the fact that he is so encouraging and telling you all of the rules of what you can and cannot do, but he puts it in a way that's. I have never ever met a person like Peter where, you know, he has probably one of the best sense of humors that I've ever met in an individual, and yet when it comes down to it, the rules, the policy, and Peter knows how much I like to debate him a little bit, and over the years, but I do have to say, you know, I know that my dad truly respected the work that you put into the city of Brampton. He thought that you were an unbelievable person, and you know, it's with my dad, you know, being gone and the changes in the city of Brampton. You know, you were one of the people that were here, and I know I had asked you to speak at my dad's when they named the rec center, and you weren't able to, and you're the first person that I ever thought of because of the relationship that you had, you know, outside of business, and the fact that, you know, you're an amazing human being, Peter, and you know, I wish you utmost congratulations on your retirement. I hope we didn't give you too many gray hairs and stress throughout the years, but congratulations, Peter.
Councillor Tour.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Peter, like when the mayor says Peter is an encyclopedia, you know, I heard stuff about Peter, you know, the stuff of the legends, like you hear about, you know, Peter's this and Peter's that, and people outside would tell us, you know, you guys are blessed to have this as a city, you have Peter as a city clerk, and decided to test that out too in other municipalities. If I've ever asked anybody in a clerical department about Peter, people know about Peter. People know who we have here at the city of Brampton. I still remember when I first started working at City Hall, in 2014. And late Friday night, as I'm leaving, I was staffing the mayor at the time, so leaving late on a Friday night, leaving City Hall building, and you just see this one light on in the clerk's office, and clerks usually, I think, packaging agendas at the time. And I walk in, and that's the first time I stepped into Peter's office, and it's hard to find Peter in his own office because of the piles of paper that are stacked up. It was like walking into like a photocopy room. You go in there and it's just files and papers stacked from the floor almost up to the ceiling. I don't know how Peter's reaching them, and papers all over the place. I thought Peter's just hoarding all this paper. But you ask Peter about any date, anything that happened, anything that's happened at council. I don't know how you keep all of that in your head and you're able to just pull that out. I hope when now you're retiring, I hope somebody's able to take you out to a research lab and look into what do you have that in your head where, you're able to pull out these dates and the bylaws and everything else. But, it's a huge loss to the city of Brampton, but it's a really well-deserved retirement. If one person whose integrity's never questioned, who's very principled in his work, his hard work's never questioned, that has been you, Peter. That's from my time at City Hall. That's one person that I look up to is you. So congratulations, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Brown. And certainly, Peter, I think a lot of the councillors have stole my thunder. They've said a lot what I wanted to say. I think Mayor Brown was poignant when he talked about challenges that we gave you, and in which you really reminded us how we should treat each other and respect each other. So I think that speaks volumes. And certainly what I do find is when I deal with your staff, you could see your leadership there, the extension of what you expect in terms of integrity, professionalism. And whenever I interacted with your department, anyone who sort of reports to you, it's just, top notch. And certainly I echo what other councillors have said in terms of, anyone I ran into at events or so on, and when we talked about who our clerk was here in Brampton, it was just great things to say about you. So I wish you the best on your retirement, and I thank you, as Councillor Pelleshi did say, is when you first get elected, you're our first point of contact, and you helped, bring us in and sort of enter this world. So I thank you very much for everything personally, and I wish you all the best. And I do agree with Councillor Torr that I hope that your knowledge, especially, as you know, there's a shortage of clerks around the province, that you do connect with some form of schooling, that you do provide your insight, and, you're certainly a body of knowledge, but your integrity and professionalism speaks volumes. Thank you.
Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, and obviously echo everything that my colleagues have said, but really want to say thank you. You're going to be missed a lot. I'm going to just add something different and say particularly thank you for always supporting women, whether that's women internally within your department, or the various motions that I would bring last minute related to gender-based violence or gender equality. You and the team that you have always been supportive of all of that work to help navigate through. And so personally, from a personal perspective as an advocate, thank you for that. That's truly, truly special. It's going to be missed a lot. And then I'll just reminisce on a particular meeting when we were having a heated debate on council and everyone was calling points of order on everyone. A point of order on a point of order being out of order. And I have no idea in those situations how you've managed to, like the mayor said, keep a straight face and help to navigate the situation out of that bad situation to continue the debate moving forward. So on that note, my band Point of Order might create a song named Peter Fay. Thank you, Peter, for everything.
Deputy Mayor Singh.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. You will be missed dearly. You leave a tremendous legacy that you and your family and loved ones should be proud of. You have a very loyal team. Working with them on this, having my staff work with them, they sing your praises, and that's a testament to your leadership as well. and we wish you nothing but the best. And mostly everything's been said. Enjoy retirement, and you'll be deeply missed. Thank you.
Well, thank you for all the eloquent tributes, and words don't do justice to someone of the caliber of Peter. But Peter, I hope you feel today how much you're appreciated and loved here in the city of Brampton. And now for some last piece of work for you is making sure we pass a budget. So we are back on schedule for our next item, which is, I believe, 9.1. We have to have any comments on the community engagement summary. Is that accurate? Are there any comments on the community engagement summary? Seen none. I have a motion moved by Councillor Keenan, second by Councillor Berard to receive the Budget 2024 Community Engagement Summary. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to item 9.2, which is responses to members of questions from meetings. Do any members have questions or comments regarding the information? Councillor Fertini, followed by Councillor Palesci.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to Peter, another advice. I declare the conflict, so we gotta separate on the bylaw portion.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, a conflict was declared at the start of the meeting from Councillor Fortini, but because this is the first time legislatively that it's the mayor's budget, there is no votes that will occur on specific portions of the budget. Only if there's an amendment that may affect that aspect of the budget, then we would note for the mayor, and you could excuse yourself.
The last one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Palesci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a few of the questions that had come out. There was one in camera. I hadn't circled back, and nor did anybody come talk to me about that in camera. So I'm still wanting to go in camera to discuss that item, as we didn't, just to find answers to that question. As for some of the other questions, circling back to 311 and the, I guess what had been requested was that we look into 311 and the opportunities. The motion that Councillor Santos had moved and I had seconded it, and then there was a Legislative Services was going to do kind of a deeper dive into those synergies and then come back. That was at the end of Q1 next year. Is that what we were thinking?
Through the chart, that's correct.
Okay, so I know I was flirting around with the ideas of changing the times of 311s as much as I truly want to. I guess I'll leave that for now to see what can come back with that. As for the mayor and members office budget, and I support the COLA increase. I did have a question though around the salary increase of the councillors, since we have not increased our salary for so many years. I just wanted to make sure that if we were planning on doing that, to start that first kind of increase, it wasn't going back to the times when we didn't increase to make that huge jump. It was just as of today, what COLA is tomorrow. Is that accurate in saying? Is that what is planned?
What is planned is just based on last year's salaries through the chair, councillor. Based on the last year's salaries, we only added the COLA for the councillors.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the budget is for council office staff as well?
No, it's for the councillors and mayor, and it's total of 68K.
Oh, okay. So I guess that's something else we have to look into. So I support the council office budget. But what I have talked about before is that without doing the ward, and we didn't do the ward boundary review, we kind of punted that off to a later date, and I think there's actually money in this budget for a ward boundary review, or to start it soon. once provincial make any of the changes that they're supposed to in 9 minutes. And I've talked about it before, is the different representation across the board, and not being similar to provincial and federal ridings, much like wards 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 1 and 5. If you amalgamated those and made them ridings provincially and federally, they have different kind of opportunities. And what I'd like to do is trying to, and I think I have a motion that I put, that I sent to Peter, I believe.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we do have a motion from you, Councillor, if you wish us to put that on the screen, if you're going to introduce it now.
I would like to introduce it now,
Okay.
so I don't happen to have a copy in front of me.
Just bear with us a moment, and we'll bring it up. So we'll just put it on one page, so, and then it will require a seconder.
Okay. So, and I can start reading it. Whereas all members of council currently receive the same annual budget to represent their constituents, and whereas the population differences between wards in the city of Brampton based on the 2021 census numbers, whereas the variance between 2021 census population between the wards with the lowest population, the highest population is a difference of 50,158 residents. Therefore, be it resolved, the budget of councillors representing wards with populations higher than the baseline be provided a population supplement consistent with practices of federal and provincial legislators. And I think Councillor Keenan's willing to second that. But I'm also going to ask that this not impact the budget increase. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, just in terms of the operative paragraph where it says population supplement, there probably, it should be the word budget after that, so it's clear that this is a budget supplement. And in terms of the quantum, I'll leave it to others that may want to, I'm not sure what that would be.
To help understand this, I think provincially and federally, what they do for MPP and MP budgets is where there's a population supplement. I think whatever it is, you can look at the number and maybe report back to member services. But I think it's 10%, but whatever the number is, that's consistent across the board. But it doesn't affect anyone else's baseline. It's only the wards that would have a larger discrepancy in population. Is my understanding? Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you, Councillor Palashi. I'm not opposed to this. I guess I just, as this comes to member services, there'll be an explanation, like what the top up, what is that in terms of just overall budget, in terms of what you can spend it on? And then my second thing is that maybe putting thought around also, you know, even though wards 3 and 4, we are a mature neighborhood, we don't have official population like your areas, but we do have probably a high concentration of underreported population. So just to have that as a consideration when we come back, it may not necessarily impact our budgets, but just to have that part of the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Medeiros, the world population statistics that Chris shared with us showed underrepresented populations, and you're right, it's staggering. Yeah. Has Mississauga only 2,000 more than Brampton today based on underreported populations? Councillor Santos.
Thank you through you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to Councillor Medeiros for bringing that up, because certainly in Ward 1 and 5, where we know that there have been a number of complaints of folks who are living in various units or basement apartments, that those populations are not necessarily shown in the statistics. And so I appreciate that you brought that one up, because even with the licensing landlord stuff that we're doing, we know where those hotspots are with those secondary units or additional residential units. So if there can be some consideration, or I'm going to suggest that there is consideration to that, that would be appreciated, because those are still our residents and they still call us.
Yeah, I think both population estimates could be looked at. Deputy Mayor Singh.
Sorry. I'm open to it. I wouldn't be surprised if certain wards have the highest in both of those categories. And so, just be mindful of what we're looking at, because I would bet a lot that not only do we have one of the highest, we also have the most underreported. So, just be mindful of what we're asking. Yeah, I'm open to do it, but, yeah, be careful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor? Motion carries. Our next item.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we're still on 9.2. There's been a few motions, so if there's no more discussion on 9.2, the budget responses, then it could be a motion just to receive that information.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Pleshy, seconded by Councillor. This is to responses to the staff answers. Okay.
We haven't gone in camera for one of my questions.
Wouldn't this be staff responses for the BIA? The BIA's portion would be staff responses as well, right?
Mr. Cook, why would be the right time?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, to members of council, so 9.2 is just the information that was provided to council on Thursday evening. And it would just be a motion to receive that information. Then there's 9.3, which is some revenue opportunity information to be shared, as well as the corporate information that was just handed out to be received. And then there'll be an opportunity after that, if members have other motions on the budget, that they could bring those forward at that time.
Okay, so let's knock off some of these easy motions right now. In terms of the staff responses, moved by Councillor Pleshy, seconded by Councillor Brar. All those in favor? Motion carries. Also want to put on the screen just an update for council on the revenue tools that are coming our way. Just to have some awareness. We're always looking at, no, these are just, I asked for them to highlight where we think there may be revenue opportunities for the city. So there's 3 of them right now. There's no motion, just for awareness. The ASE cameras, the carbon credits, and the digital advertising. And so staff is going to do their best to sort of get a highlight in terms of the month-to-month revenues that these could produce. Obviously, all 3 of them are significant revenue tools for the city. And I've heard from councillors that we just want to sort of nail down those targets in a consistent way. Last year, we talked about carbon credits, how they expire every 6 months. And I think that's an area that we need to do better, because we've had a lot of expiring of potential revenue tools. And so those are the 3 that staff are keeping an eye on. And so I think members of the council with interest in these areas should understand these are important for the city. And if that document can be shared with council too. Yeah.
$1 trillion.
Well, you look at the, yeah, it's.
Don't forget rent boards.
Yeah. What's our next one, Peter?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so we can just do a motion to receive this information, and it is published on the council revised agenda.
Okay.
And we'll send an email to members of council with that information, and then.
Sure. Okay, moved by Councillor Basante, seconded by Councillor Santos. All those in favor? Motion carries. And just procedurally, I know there's going to be a press conference we may want to see at 1:30. They also want to go in camera to answer. Maybe we could use this pause as the pause to go over to in camera?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if that's the will of council, yes, we have the capability of displaying the news conference in here. We'll have to check about the committee room as we haven't tested.
So why don't we play it here and just make it, it's not going to be a long press conference, but we could go in camera at 1:45? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just need a motion to move into closed session, and we'll just bring that forward. It'll be going into closed session, as I understand it, for employee, labor relations or employee negotiations, and this is in regards to the remuneration matters related to the BIA. So we'll just need a mover and seconder for that motion.
Put it here.
We just want to take that vote, and then we can recess.
Oh, so all those in favor, motion carries. We are recessed.
So we can recess, and then we're going to closed.
1:45.
Okay, thank you. So this meeting is now recessed, and for those who are present in the chambers, we are going to play the
government has made have helped to speed up approvals and cut red tape and get more shovels in the ground. I've also listened closely to how we can make additional changes that will get more homes built. So today I'm announcing the next steps we are taking to respond to this feedback and continue our efforts to tackle Ontario's housing supply crisis. First, in response to advice from the experts who make up the Peel Region Transition Board, we will be proposing to recalibrate the board's mandate through our new legislation to be introduced next year. Our goal in reviewing Peel's local governance structure has always been to provide the highest level of service at the lowest cost to taxpayers. But thanks to the work that has been done by the board over the last few months and in response to municipal feedback, including from regional service providers and first responders, it is clear that full dissolution of Peel is not the best way to achieve this goal. The evidence we have seen is clear. Full dissolution would disrupt critical services and lead to higher taxes for the people of Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon. And while some people might be okay with that, our government clearly is not. That is why we'll be asking the board to shift its focus to how we can improve regional services like policing, paramedics, and public health, while also recommending how we can optimize services that will help build more homes, including land use planning, servicing, roads, waste management. This balanced approach will give Peel Region's residents and employees the certainty they deserve, while also providing taxpayers the best value for their money. We're also proposing to revoke or amend a number of ministers' zoning orders as part of a new use it or lose it policy. So in September, I asked my ministry to review past zoning orders approved since 2018 based on how much progress had been made to date on each project. The ministry considered whether substantial progress has been made on the additional downstream approvals needed for project development, as well as how much progress was made addressing water and wastewater servicing within a reasonable time frame. As a result of this review, we are proposing to revoke or amend 8 existing MZOs that are not related to housing. Another 14 housing-related MZOs are now under enhanced monitoring to ensure that they continue to show progress. Now, I've always been clear that if we do not see the results we expect from a minister's zoning order, our government will not hesitate to amend or revoke it. It sends a clear message that when we issue a zoning order to support priorities like housing, long-term care, we expect to see results. We will also be launching consultations on a go-forward framework on how we receive and approve requests for ministers' zoning orders. This new progress will be more open and transparent while maintaining this important tool to cut through red tape and get shovels in the ground sooner. Finally, we are going to be reviewing the impact of the More Homes Built Faster Act when it comes to the development-related charges. We want to strike the right balance to lower costs on the types of homes we need the most, while supporting municipalities as they build housing-enabling infrastructure. We will be consulting with key stakeholders ahead of the next housing bill to develop a definition of attainable housing that will be exempt from development charges under the Act, but that will be limited to modular homes built on surplus government lands. These modular homes will kickstart our government's attainable housing program to help more Ontario families find a home that meets their needs and budgets while limiting the impact on municipal budgets. In addition, our discussions with municipalities will continue. We will be eliminating or terminating, the audits of the 6 municipalities that were started previously. Instead, we will be consulting with municipalities on the impact of the More Homes Built Faster Act and their ability to fund infrastructure, but we want to hear from municipalities on 3 potential changes. The first, the 5-year phase-in of development charge increases, the removal of studies as an eligible capital cost for development charges, and the planning application fee refund framework. At the same time, we are keeping in place the existing development charge exemptions and reductions for nonprofit, affordable, and purpose-built rental homes to continue to incentivize the construction of these much-needed homes. We will continue our historic levels of support to municipalities to help them build infrastructure, including the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund, the new $200 million Housing Enabling Water System Fund, and our $400 million Community Infrastructure Fund. As we do, we also need the federal government to be a willing and able partner in supporting our province's growth and investing in our infrastructure. The measures I'm announcing today strike the right balance as we work to build 1.5 million homes. They show respect for taxpayers, respond to municipal concerns, and reflect the need to cut red tape, reduce duplication, and keep costs down to get shovels in the ground. They also lay the framework for the next Housing Supply Action Plan, which will be launched next year, and will continue our ambitious work to build more homes for families, homes that they need and deserve. And with that, I can take any questions.
Minister, are you worried about the ghost of Hazel McCallion haunting you? I mean, the Premier made her a deathbed promise earlier this year, and you introduced an act called the Hazel McCallion Act. It passed very quickly in May, passed in June. Aren't you worried about that Premier Ford breaking that deathbed promise to Hazel McCallion?
Well, look, what I know about Hazel McCallion is that she was a very, very strong advocate, obviously, for Mississauga, a great mayor, but also somebody who focused on keeping costs down for municipalities. It's one of the reasons why Mississauga had such incredible growth under Hazel McCallion. She understood that you have to keep costs down, that you have to encourage growth in a community. And I think some of the things that we're talking about today respect what Mayor McCallion would have wanted. We're talking about things like fully proclaiming Bill 23, which allows land use planning to be focused exclusively on lower tier municipalities.
in council session. In the interest of public transparency, the clerk will report back what was discussed in camera.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to members of council and those watching today's meeting, council met in closed session to deal with open meeting exception under section 239(2) D, I believe it is, labor relations or employee negotiations, a BIA remuneration matter. Information was received and no direction was given. That's the report, Mr. Mayor. So the next item we can, council can proceed with, unless there's nobody on the board, is 9.4 was a corporate overview, which was handed out in hard copy today and will be published with the revised agenda, which includes information on the mayor and members of council budget. So that questions were addressed earlier. That information could just be received, and then we can move on to other motions, should members have some.
It's a motion for the corporate overview. Is there any comments? No, it's a motion moved by Councillor Brar, seconded by Councillor Basante. All those in favor? Motion carries.
So we're now at the point of the meeting if there's any motions from
Okay,
members.
so we've got the list of motions. We can go through them now, and then members of council have any others. Do you want to put the ones that staff have prepared?
It's through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we can. So there are a number of technical recommendations that were prepared in concert with staff, and the first, I'll just review them, is to endorse the 2024 net property tax levy variance of 1.9% on the tax bill. The second is to authorize the treasurer to make necessary transfers of budget amounts in accordance with the budget. The next is for the chief administrative officer to make necessary funding transfers. And then there are, under recommendation 4, there are some technical amendments to the budget policy, finance 140, and these have been prepared by staff in consultation with the mayor's office. Item number 6 on these technical motions is, this was a matter I believe that came up either Thursday evening or on Tuesday last week. It's more of a technical adjustment to budgeted $950,000 related to a specific project to just retitle the project. It's page 134 of the budget binder. To move it from baseball diamond conversion to Kabaddi Fields Sesquicentennial Park, and be reallocated to the purchase and installation of portable washrooms and bleachers. And there's no net budget impact on the Parks and Recreation budget. And finally, the 7th one is approving a funding to be funded from a reserve account for $2 million to start the design of the capital project for the Cricket Winter Optimized Outdoor Facilities.
Okay, I can be moved by myself, seconded by the Deputy Mayor, Harkirat Singh. All those in favor? Motion carries. Are there any other motions from council?
Councilor Vasante.
Councilor Vasante.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Following from our discussion at budget last week and in follow-up to the delegation by the Downtown Brampton BIA, I've distributed to members of council a chart that outlines the changes that were suggested by Councillor Pleshy. Thank you, Councillor, for your changes. And there is going to be a reduction in the ask from the BIA of $70,700. The difference being that Public Works, Stratcom, and other departments of the city will be providing some additional service to the BIA, and that can be provided by the city. And with that, I would also ask if Mr. Fay could put the motion up on the screen to be moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Keenan. With the operating paragraph at the end, Mr. Fay. Whereas the original request that amount from the BIA amounted to $257,250. It's been revised by $70,700 down to $186,550. We are asking that the city approve the revised downtown BIA budget of $1,089,335, which includes an increase to the BIA levy portion of $383,386, a withdrawal from the BIA reserve in the amount of $108,000, and the city contributing $365,950, of which $186,550 is additional city subsidy for 2024, and sponsorship grants and marketing revenue in the amount of $235,000. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Basante. Is there a seconder? Me. Councillor Keenan? All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, are there any, Councillor Santos?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. And so I was originally going to look at perhaps looking at ways for the City of Brampton to support food banks more locally in Brampton. Most recently on Thursday at Regional Council, a motion was actually passed that in fact what we should be doing, and I agree with this, is advocating to the federal government for more ongoing support for food banks. And so on that note, I'd just like to bring forward a motion that supports the call to FCM to advocate to the federal government in order to provide federal funding and support for food banks, especially during this time. So there's no budget impact. It's more of endorsement and letting FCM know that the City of Brampton is behind the decision, behind the resolution that is being brought forward from the Region of Peel.
Thank you, Councillor Santos. Is there a seconder? Councillor Basante? All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe that is all the motions the clerk's office is aware of. And the next item of business would be public question period, and then after public question period, there'll be the confirming bylaw. And before the confirming bylaw, there is a motion that's required if council wishes to reduce its 30-day review period for the mayor's budget, and we can address that at the time before the confirming bylaw. So the next item would be public question period.
Okay. Any questions?
And there are none in the clerk's office inbox. I don't know if anybody present wishes to come forward and ask a question regarding a decision at today's meeting. I don't see any.
This takes us to the confirming bylaw. We have a motion moved by Councillor Tour, seconded by Councillor Power.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, that motion then will be to reduce the 30-day commenting period. And that is the motion that's on the screen. There's a consideration period, my apologies. I don't know if there's an explanation or required, or is everybody okay with what this is new?
So what this means is that a budget is deemed adopted after 30 days. We're waiving that 30 days, so it's adopted today. And then, yeah.
It would be adopted today if this motion carries, and then pending the 10-day mayoral veto period.
Which I'm also waiving.
Yeah, which the mayor will issue a mayoral decision to waive that, and that there in the bylaw, or excuse me, the budget will be deemed adopted today.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Power, second by Councillor Tour. All those in favor? Motion carries. And then you need me to sign that form? Okay. Good. Okay. This takes a confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Madero, seconded by Councillor Singh. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to adjournment. Moved by, who hasn't been on the, moved by Councillor Fertini, seconded by Councillor Tour. All those in favor? Motion carries. Yep.